Hi scrappy friends, I am about to start a new layout for my double vision series where I take pictures and I make a double page layout with them and use some different types of techniques to make a double page layout. This week I'm going to make a layout that has only 2 pictures on it. Well, 2 or 3, but I'm pretty sure I'm only going to use 2. I may take this picture and scatter it in, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or not. I definitely want to use this picture of my grandmother. It's pretty much the same picture, just her laughing more in one, and when I use it I'll probably go like this. So my thought is that I'm gonna take and have a double page spread in which I can do a lot of journaling on, and I know I've kind of done that a little bit. I know last episode that I did, I had the pocket pages and there was quite a bit of journaling. But this one, I definitely wanted to be a journaling type of layout. So I am going to have one side with the pictures, and the other side I'm going to use a longer title and be able to have my journaling on there. So I'll probably take the other side and use a full 12 by 12 piece of paper. That way they look similar, but they're not the same. Unless I decide that I want to do half and half, like one idea that I might have, and I'm not really sure because it'll just depend on when I really sit down and I do this in a few minutes, I might take it and put a third of this side with pattern paper and then the other side do 2/3. So then I have the pattern paper here and the outsides be the white, which is something that also could look really cool. So I think I might do that, though. I actually think I might do that because that'll help be able to have it flow all the way across, because I want it to feel like it's one layout. I don't want it to feel like it's not. And like I said, I definitely want to have lots of space for journaling because I want to basically just kind of pay homage to my grandmother, she's still alive. But she's definitely getting a lot older, and I want to be able to have layouts in my albums that tell more of a story about who the people in my family are. And I know I'm really big into ancestry and type of research and stuff, and I think that when we start seeing records of older people in our family, we kind of get an idea of who we are as a family, because you can see lots of traits that get passed down. And so I really want to have a layout like this in which I'm kind of talking about things that my grandmother has that has been passed down to me. And I know I want a really nice long title, and I already cut in with my silhouette. I already cut some of the words out that I want to use. I'm gonna have the title, "I Come From a Family of Strong Women," which is why I'm thinking I might use this, but I probably won't. I think I'm just going to stick with this and stick with my grandmother because, and instead of just using my mom and my grandmother. But, so I'll put the title, and I'll probably use some thickers and stuff. I wish that, in the thicker words, they had more family-oriented type thickers. I'm trying to think what I have with these Maggie Holmes Gather ones, and I don't think they do. They need to have words like family and words like that. I know I have some stuff from my story kits that have some nicer, bigger words and stuff, but I don't think any of those really apply to how I want to do the title here. So, I mean, the nice thing about having a silhouette is that you can pick a font, or you can look up words that you want to see if they have in the silhouette store, and you can just, you know, buy them. Or, I mean, like I said, you can use your own fonts. That's all I did, is I just took my own fonts. Actually, I kind of wish I used the same one, which, I mean, isn't really that big of a deal. I can go back and fix it if I want. I may or may not, because I think I really want to have a couple of the words have the same, but so the family is a little bit smaller. Strong is really nice. But I could have just did the whole title in the silhouette, but I think I want to add some gold letters is what I'm thinking. So depending on what I have in my thicker stash that I have enough letters for, if I don't, then I might go back to using my silhouette for the whole title, which is not a big deal. That's part of the reason why you buy a silhouette, right? So you can use for titles. But that is my idea. Like I said, I want to be able to have a nice big space. I mean, I will embellish on here so that it has stuff. And I mean, and if I really wanted to, I could have my pictures kind of overlap so that they're more towards the middle, and then I have the outsides to journal, but I don't know. I'm thinking that I want to keep them on just one page and have one full page for journaling, just because it will work. I think it'll look better that way, but we'll see. Like I said, once I get going and I start making it, sometimes the layouts kind of have a mind of their own, and I think that that is a great, the awesome thing about scrapbooking is that you can do it that way if you like to let it progress that way, or you can use a plan, a more rigid plan. Like I could go and look on Pinterest and see if I could find a sketch or use a sketch, but I think that this really will just flow better if I just kind of let it go in the direction that it's going when I start building. I'll probably build my title pretty close to the beginning so that I can figure out how the rest of it is going to go. So I can't wait for you guys to join me on this journey while I make this, and I will see you guys in a little while. Okay, so I have decided that I'm going to use this paper from I think that's from the Bloom collection. It's Maggie Holmes. I'm using a lot of Maggie Holmes on this layout. I really just like this style as far as it working really well with the theme, and her florals and her patterns definitely have that vintagey feel without being overly, especially this newer collection Gather really doesn't feel too vintagey compared to some of her older stuff, which I appreciate because I really like. I like the look of vintage, but I find it sometimes kind of hard to match other collections with it, and I don't always like to stick right in the same collection. I want to add some layers, and I'm trying to figure out how I want to get these papers to be across to both sides so that they flow. And I really like that fringe blue one with the newspaper. It's nice and light. It's just really pretty, and it matches with that other blue one, which is from the Gather collection, and I really like that collection. And that paper is really pretty, which is why I didn't use the whole piece. I decided to put some washi tape on the middle, on the seam of these two pieces of cardstock so that you could, it would stick together the whole time while I was making it until I decide that it needs to be apart. So I'm working on the title now, and I decided that one of the pieces I was going to color to make it more of a customized color. So I just took some chalk ink and made like a coral peach type of color by mixing pink and orange together, and they had like a coral kind of color, but I wanted to just kind of make it a little bit more. I also tried to heat emboss it, which didn't quite work, and I didn't tape that process anyway, and it was really messy, and I kind of wish I didn't do it. It didn't ruin my thickers so much that I felt like I needed to use some other ones, but it definitely almost burned the top of them because they are customizable thickers, which is why you can't see them on there because I didn't want any of the chalk ink. So right now I'm kind of playing around with where I want to put these photos. Do I want to stick them on one side? Do I want to stick them across the bottom? I thought about doing that, but I didn't like how heavy it really made that bottom look. That dark color really already draws your eye in. So I decided, well, while I'm thinking, and while I seem to like those two pictures on the side, I might as well work on my title because I really want to get this down first, or pretty close to the beginning, because I knew that is one of my main focuses on on that side of the layout. I thought about putting it on the one side where it is, and then I decided I don't like it on the pattern paper. It just leaves that open space really wide and open, and what else was I going to fill with it? And I wasn't sure, so my title is moving back. I kind of wish I played with it a little bit more before I had started gluing stuff down, because that family right there is a little crooked. It's not too bad, and I can live with it. I'm not too picky when it comes to having everything have to be really straight. I like it to look straight if I can get it that way, but sometimes you just can't, and sometimes these stickers just don't come down very well. Well, and I think with that family piece, it was partly because of where I put the A, and I thought I had more room, but I just didn't. So, oh well. And then, yeah, so I'm just gluing everything down, and I'm using that Tombow Multi-Mono, and I really like it. It's just really sticky. By the end of this, I had a clump of glue on my finger. That woman is Pink Paisley letter stickers from the C'est La Vie collection, and I really love them, and they look really nice here. They add that a little bit of gold, but not having too much. The only thing I wished is maybe if I had looked to see if they had an apostrophe. I ended up using the round ones, and those I think are from Dear Lizzie. They're an older, thicker. I say older, as in I haven't been scrapbooking that long, so they can't be that old, right? So this is the next day actually. It didn't take me a really, really long time to put this whole spread together. I think it took about a little bit more than an hour and a half when I put it in my editor, which is not really that long because I talked for almost 10 minutes before. So it took me about an hour and a half to complete the whole thing ish. I might have spent a little bit longer thinking about what I wanted to use, because there was a couple times I turned off my camera because I just wasn't sure about some stuff. And so, yeah, but it really didn't take too long. now I'm wanting to layer some stuff behind the photo. And I did put those two photos on a piece of printer paper. I've kind of been liking that, the way that that looks, and it gives, especially when you use more than one photo, it gives your paper, your photos somewhere to sit without flopping around. And so I can move them together in a chunk. And it's not as thick as cardstock, so, well, one, I don't waste my white cardstock because I've been going through it like kid eating candy, let me tell you. I love white cardstock. I don't know what it is about white cardstock right now, but I'm just in love with it. So I decided to move that black piece over because it was too heavy right on the corner. It just wasn't working for me. And I think that this is one of those things that sometimes when you're layering, especially on such a big spread, the way that it fits is just, you just got to play around with it until you feel that it's right. And I think for every person it's different, so, which is really fun. I think that's the fun thing about especially double page spreads, and why you can see so many, or just layouts in general, why you can see such a difference between people is just because it feels, the heaviness feels differently to different people. So I really want to use that blue paper because I want to add some blue in my photo. There's some blue, darker blue colors. So I'm thinking I want to do that. I'm not necessarily liking that there's a T in between my photos. So I am thinking about that, but I really like the way that that blue paper lays across and kind of connects that teal paper from the Gather collection and that streamer type of paper. I don't know. Is it really? It's not really a streamer paper, but the fringy paper. And so I decided to layer both of the black pieces together. Because why not, right? And I add a glassine bag as one of my layers, and that is all I'm doing for the layers, believe it or not. So I really did not go layer crazy, which is fine because I don't really want that to be the focus. I want the journaling to be the focus. But I was wondering if maybe I would want to stick some extra journaling in the bag, in the bag, which I do have that ability that if I need to, I can. Well, okay, so I lied. I do add some extra layers with some of the embellishments in there. And I decided to use that Dear Lizzie wood grain. I actually think that's a piece from one of my other doubles page spreads. So I really, really like the way that this turned out in the end. It took a little while. Like it kind of, I felt like I kept going in circles just to get the right feel for it. But once I got the feel, it did come together. And I just decided not to play around with it too much because sometimes I have a tendency to go overboard. And I really wanted, like I said, I really just wanted this to be about the journaling and stuff. But I did want to make it pretty because it's about girls, and girls just like to be pretty, don't we? We do. I really like the way that black and white just kind of gives a little bit something else. But I decide instead of putting it on the over top of that blue, because I didn't really want to cover that blue paper. So I stuck it behind, and I like it the way. So here I'm thinking that I might want to use some of these cut aparts it was from the 6x6 pad from the Bloom collection, and I had some of them cut out already. There's a butterfly and like a cup, like a teacup or something up at the top. And then I have some of the ephemera pieces, and I'm trying to figure out where I can put them and where I think they look good and what is too much. And I really, it just took a little while to find that balance of what's going to look good. That heart piece, I really liked that with the watercolor, but I had a hard time figuring out where it was going to fit that you really could see the heart. And I also play around with maybe layering a few tags in the bag, in that glassine bag. But in the end, I just decided to stick with one tag and just kind of put a little bit of something on the tag. You'll see in a little while what I end up doing. And then I have the great idea to, why don't I just take 3 of those pieces and put them together and layer them. And I really like the way that that looks up in that top, up at the top of that paper. It just kind of fills that space up because there really needed to be something there. And I really wanted to use that mint piece with the gold. And I'm also thinking about what colors and what types of things I'm using in each little cluster and trying to kind of find a balance. I don't need it to be overly balanced. Like, it doesn't bother me if not every single cluster has the same amount of types of embellishments, but it does really help draw it together and bring it together when it does have a lot more of the same types of things. I really liked that tag that was in the Gather collection. I also like that black one right there that has the little peek holes. I really love how the Gather collection has pieces that have a lot more stuff like that, stuff sticking, like the holes punched out, for like different types of tickets and tags. And I also like how they have the pieces that have the screen, so it has a different color on the backing. I haven't used any of those yet. I will say that a lot of those, that ephemera is really big. So here I'm using some staples. I found some hearts and gems from a different collection. I want to say it was from a Project Life die cut pack, but I'm not positive about that. And I thought that the gem just kind of worked with that sense of being strong, so kind of being symbolic here. Me. Yay, Hannah, for being symbolic. I can actually put things on my layout that mean what I want it to mean. So I cut them apart. Okay, so one thing I added in between and I didn't tape was I used that Love You die cut that is brush script from the Pretty Please collection from Pretty Little Studios, and I really like the way that that looks. It adds some black over to that corner. And now I am going, oh yeah, so I'm finishing the tag up and I'm thinking, okay, do I want this black circle element? I found a heart that was black and like marbly and I'm thinking, okay, how do I want to use this? And then I decide to not use the circle because I didn't like the you and me anyway, or me and you, I think is what it said. So, oh yeah, so here's the heart. And then I decide to use a bow. So I use a glittered bow and it's gold and it's pretty and it's just the perfect touch. I'm glad I seen that in my little drawer from Click Kits. And then I added some twine there, so that there is just another texture. And now I'm going to add sequins and that is it. So I really tried not to add too much. Oh, I know where that gem came from. That's from the Carpe Diem Pretty Posh Simple Stories collection that just came out. I decided to look at that. I forgot that I did that because there's some flowers from there too. So I really kept this simple, guys. And I didn't show me doing the journaling because I really wanted to sit and make sure I thought about what I was writing. But I do add journaling after this. So you will see that in my close-ups. I hope you guys are really enjoying this series because I am enjoying it immensely. Next week, I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing. I will say that I probably will have to take a break after this next time because I need to get paper and ink. And I can't make layouts without a whole bunch of photos. I have a ton of stories that I want to tell with multiple photos. I just have to get them printed. So that is my dilemma. So I think next week I'm going to do something a little bit different, but along the lines of double page spreads. And then I'm going to take a little bit of a break so I can get some pictures printed, and then I will be back with my series because I am enjoying this, and I think that I definitely have enough ideas for at least 3 more layouts after this. So have a great weekend. I hope you come back and join and see what else I have on my channel. I have some fun stuff coming up this next week, and I will see you guys later. Bye.